Hey guys, what is up? And I welcome each and every one of you to a fairly quick, new League of Legends video. So today we're going to be talking about a post that Riot made, which is actually quite interesting. They give us a lot of really juicy information about essentially what changes that they're going to be doing and focusing on early next year, essentially for season 12. And there's some pretty juicy stuff, like some pretty big ones too. And honestly, like mini reworks, a lot of revamp to like certain items and whatnot, dragons. A lot of juicy stuff, so let's just get this party started. If you guys enjoy, find this useful, helpful, whatever, entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button. Ladies and gentlemen, so you can see this was posted not too long ago, only a few days ago, 8 days ago. Quick gameplay thoughts, but this one's actually a really interesting one. So there's a short-term plan here, and there's a long-term one here, right? So let's go over it. Hey guys, so this video is going to be sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is, of course, a VPN that not only protects your privacy online, but lets you do things that you normally would not be able to do, such as keeping your privacy safe online by not only being able to change your IP address, but also protecting yourself from potential hackers. And one of the most popular things to use a VPN for, such as Surfshark, is to change your location as if you're in a completely different area. So for instance, if you want to watch The Office, but you simply can't based on where you currently live, well, you can change it to pretend like you're currently in the UK, and just off of that alone, you can now watch whatever show you want. The best part is Surfshark offers an insane amount of variety, so you can be literally almost anywhere on planet Earth that you so choose, which opens up a lot of possibilities. And the app is extremely intuitive and simple to use. So using my link down below, you guys can get 83% off plus 4 extra months for free. So highly recommend checking out that link down below, but let's get back to the video. Short-term plans. Most of preseason 2022 seems to have landed well, with the Hextech Drake in a good shape, and the objective bounty is looking solid after some adjustments. However, we're still actively monitoring the Chemtech Drake's Terrain and Dragon Soul. Chemtech is broken, by the way. I'm real sad. We're a pretty broken dragon. Based on our observations, we're shipping a small change in patch 12.1, which is the first patch of season 12, I think, or second. Adding some Scryer Bloom. So they're adding new plants, the Scryer Bloom plants, which I believe is division ones, in the locations that should improve the defending team's experience in their own jungle. We knew that the Chemtech Dragon would be a spicy addition, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it. So here's where it starts to get really interesting. So I did make a video about this specifically, but they're essentially talking about how in 12.1, they're essentially doing that, mini rework to the Summoner Teleport that I made a video on. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But essentially, TLDR, before 14 minutes, the new teleport has a longer cooldown and can only target towers. After 14 minutes, its cooldown is reduced, and they can target the same objects as they can on live today. So they're essentially hard nerfing it early game, the first 14 minutes. So they state in season 2021, Teleport had way too much of an early game influence on the outcomes of other lanes, which I agree. The thing with Teleport is that you can take it mid lane, top lane, even sometimes bot lane. And it was like a get out of jail free card. It was like you can completely mess up your laning phase essentially, especially if you're laning against someone that has Ignite. But as long as, ideally if you don't die, but even if you do die, because they just killed you with their Ignite, for instance, 1v1, whatever, just teleport back in. And even though you just messed up and you just lost, you still have an advantage in the lane, literally because you just TP'd in. And as long as you know how to play the lane, the minions control the wave, you pretty much are still at a advantage, which is extremely kind of ridiculous, honestly. So they're essentially nerfing that, which is, I honestly think it makes sense, personally, but that's just me. Anyway, next they're looking at changing some fighter items. In particular, Sterak's Gauge has become a universal purchase, washing out the differences between bruisers like Darius Alawi versus light fighters like Fiora. Light fighters? Fiora? Light fighters? Light fighters? What? In what universe are they light fighters? Anyway, that's kind of troll. But essentially, they seem to be wanting to nerf Sterak Gauge or kind of move it towards more of like an actual tanky item as opposed to like an item that literally anyone can build, which, by the way, assassins can build as well. Completely broken on them as well. The item is completely overstated, completely overtuned. By far the most broken bruiser item in the game, in my opinion. We're also working on some other items like Maw of Malmortius and Death's Dance, so that champions that move off of Sterak's will have adequate alternatives, which makes sense. I think Death's Dance is fine. Maw is extremely underwhelming. It's not very good. Sterak's by far the best. Maw of Malmortius is the worst, and Death's Dance is kind of in the middle where it's, it's not amazing, but it's not horrible. It's okay. We don't have a ship date for that yet, but it'll definitely be in the first half of 2022. Next, on top of that, as if it's not done yet. They're pretty much going to be doing a mid-scope champion adjustments, and the next two projects are Janna and Ahri. So I did make a video on the Janna changes. I'm not sure if those are the Janna changes he's talking about in this post. I'm assuming they are on the PPE server, but apparently there's also a mini rework, if you will, coming to Ahri early in the year as well. Ahri of all champions, that's a pretty interesting one. A champion that's, in my opinion, probably one of the most well-rounded champions for mid lane. She's not like broken, but she's not weak. She's always just kind of in this middle ground where she's never bad, but she's never great. She's just always okay, it feels like. Or good. Okay or good. But she's never like completely broken, and she's never completely just garbage. Anyway, so they're touching Ahri, which is going to be interesting. So these will be smaller in scope than the Tahm Kench rework, but still substantial, like Lucian's recent updates. This sort of work has gone well so far, so we're building up upon our process for it in the upcoming years, better defining our goals on how we'll pick the targets, and we'll talk more about this in detail soon. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what they do with Ahri. That's a champion that has a lot of fans, I think. So they have to be really careful, you know, with what they do there. Longer term investigations. So we're investigating a couple of larger spaces. To caveat, we're thinking about those spaces very broadly and do not have a specific direction for them yet. We're just sharing them so you have an idea of what we're thinking about, and we're not promising on any particular outcomes. First off is burst damage. So before I continue reading this, my personal opinion on burst damage is the fact that it feels like literally every single champion in the game, regardless of the champion or items that you build, pretty much feels like a burst champion nowadays. You can literally play Ornn with a full tank build, Cho'Gath with a full tank build, Sett with a full tank build. You can probably one-shot the AD carry or some squishy mage, whatever. If you get on them, you can probably almost one-shot their ass. Like, let's be honest here. It's kind of ridiculous. So let's see what they say. I haven't read this yet. We want to keep this game exciting with high-stake decision-making, but we also want to ensure that fights are reasonably understandable and counterplay is still possible, which at the moment, neither of them is really possible. Everyone one-shots everyone, and they're not reasonable at all because there's many things happening that shouldn't be happening. Like, for instance, I still personally think the fact that AD carries, immobile AD carries, whose kit is literally balanced around the fact that they are immobile, they do not have a mobile ability, now have a mobile ability, aka Gale Force. Just really strange that they do that. Just taking all the rules and throwing them out the window just because, you know, like, screw fundamentals. Screw what the champion's fundamental kit was designed around. Get the hell out of here with that shit. Everyone has a dash now. It's kind of ridiculous, honestly, but let's see what they say. We're still very early in this investigation, but our current belief is that burst kills happen too quickly and too often. Ooh, well, really? One option we're considering is to reduce the damage output under at least a few conditions, most likely in mid to late game against very low defense champions. That's not to say we're deleting assassins or anything. It's a touchy area. Yes, it is. And that's why we're taking our time investigating the data. As a friendly reminder, we're not guaranteeing to ship anything in this space yet. Even if we do, the goal isn't to ensure you can never get one-shotted, force a tank meta, or any other hyperbolic ideas, whatever the hell that means. So I don't know. Let's reread this exactly what they wanted to do here. So they want, one option we're considering is to reduce damage output under at least a few conditions, most likely in mid to late game against very low defense champions. Okay, I mean, I don't know. Well, hopefully they take their time. That's all I'm going to say, because my goodness, the fact that they're even talking about assassins here is cringe. Assassins do less damage than tanks. Like, come on, get the hell out of here. What? A full tank Ornn does as much damage as like a Zed with full lethality against an AD carry. To the point where I literally built full tank on Zed now. Literally full tank Zed. I'll make a video on it soon. Full tank Zed with grasp, and I literally one-shot AD carries. It's ridiculous. Like, I do as much damage as I do if I were to go full lethality, but literally full tank. Stupid. Second, we believe that systems like items and runes provide too much healing and sustain right now. Yes, they do. We've done some work to address this over the course of 2021, but we're still meaningfully off from where we want to be. We haven't settled on the details yet, including whether the changes to the systemic healing should go out in one large swing or through smaller changes spread out over time. The answer partly depends on what we end up doing with burst damage, because the longer it takes to kill a champion, the more powerful sustain gets. True, but I feel like all these things have been quite obvious for quite a long time. So the fact, I don't know, it feels like they just only realized this now, especially this, like, bruh. Every single champion in every single game is essentially one-shots every single champion. It's ridiculous. This needs to get touched on ASAP. And the fact that they talk about assassins, that's not to say we're deleting assassins. Bro, assassins aren't even the issue. Assassins are already deleted. They already are building essentially tanky bruiser items. There's no such thing as an assassin anymore. There's no point in playing an assassin, because you can build literally bruiser tanky items and do as much damage while being 5 times tankier. Come on, guys. Riot Games, get your shit together. Like, bro, these tanky bruiser items have been broken for, like, I've been playing this game since season 1, and as far as I can remember, building bruisery type items like Triforce, especially back then, have always been the best way to do it and extremely stat rewarding and efficient. Ridiculous. So hopefully they fix this stuff because this is just insane. But either way, some pretty juicy information. Either way, let me know what you guys think about it down below. If you have guys, have any suggestions, ideas, thoughts, whatever, let me know in the comment section. But either way, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.